Imagine waking up to a sky that suddenly tears apart with a blinding flash, followed by a thunderclap so loud it shatters windows 40 miles away. Moments later, a wall of heat and wind knocks you to the ground even, though the blast occurs far over the horizon. That was the reality for villagers in central Siberia on the morning of June 30th, 1908. More than a century later, scientists are still piecing together exactly what happened during the Tunguska event. You're listening to MindSpark, Science Now. And today, we're diving into the mystery behind the largest cosmic explosion ever witnessed by modern humans. 7:17 a.m. local time. Hunters of the Ewenki people hear a roar like artillery fire. One recalls, the sky split apart, and fire covered the forest. The heat felt as if my shirt would ignite. Kurensk, 600 kilometers away. The blast wave rattles dishes and sends residents running into the streets. Barometers as far away as St. Petersburg register pressure pulses that circle the planet twice. For 2 nights after, European skies glow bright enough for Londoners to read newspapers outdoors at midnight. When aerial photographs are finally taken years later, pilots are stunned. 80 million trees lie flat across more than 2,000 square kilometers, forming a giant butterfly-shaped scar. At ground zero, the forest isn't flattened but stripped. Blackened poles stand leafless and branchless, as though scorched by a giant blowtorch. So why did it take almost 20 years for anyone to investigate? Political upheaval. For one thing, World War I, revolution, and civil war drained Russia's resources. Geography played an even bigger role. The blast zone sits deep in swampy taiga with no roads. Rivers that flood in summer and freeze in winter, and clouds of mosquitoes that can drive people mad. Enter Leonid Kulik. In 1927, the mineralogist wins funding, hires reindeer herders as guides, and treks hundreds of kilometers through snow and bog. Expecting a crater the size of a volcano, he instead finds only charred forest and tangled marsh. Yet his magnetometer twitches, and tiny glassy spheres appear in peat layers, clues that something extraterrestrial arrived. Kulik's photographs of trees pointing away from a central point become the enduring icon of Tunguska. Fast forward to the Cold War, when computers and nuclear test data allow scientists to model atmospheric explosions. Simulations show that a stony asteroid, roughly 50 to 60 meters across, traveling at 15 kilometers per second, would disintegrate about 8 kilometers above the ground. The resulting fireball would release 10 to 15 megatons of energy, roughly 1,000. Hiroshima bombs strong enough to flatten a forest but leave no crater. An icy comet core could have done the same, but would leave even less debris, keeping the debate alive. One possible smoking gun is Lake Cheko, a shallow, con-shaped lake 7 kilometers northwest of the blast center. Italian geophysicists drilling in 2007 report only a century's worth of sediment, hinting the lake formed in 1908. Opposing teams counter that pollen in the mud suggests the lake is several thousand years old. The argument continues, and every new core sample seems to swing opinion back and forth. Technology is now doing what muddy boots once struggled to achieve. LiDAR-rigged drones have mapped ridges of uplifted soil invisible beneath the forest canopy, features that match Shockwave simulations. Hyperspectral satellites detect spikes of nickel, iridium, and cobalt elements, common in meteorites, but rare in Siberian crest, exactly where models predict the greatest fallout. Sediment cores from nearby rivers even contain millimeter-sized metallic grains whose isotope ratios scream outer space. To appreciate the risk Tunguska poses in today's world. Remember Chelyabinsk in 2013? A 19-meter asteroid exploded over Russia with 500 kilotons of energy, shattering windows and injuring 1,400 people, mostly from flying glass. Tunguska was at least 30 times more powerful. If the Tunguska body had arrived a few hours later, it would have detonated over densely populated western Russia instead of empty taiga. As of June 2025, astronomers have cataloged more than 38,000 near-Earth asteroids, yet most Tunguska-class objects, 40 to 80 meters across, remain undiscovered until they are almost upon us. Earlier this year, asteroid 2024 Year 4 briefly reached level 3 on the Torino hazard scale, before further observations ruled out an impact. Missions like NASA's upcoming NEO Surveyor and the Vera C. Rubin Observatory aim to find tens of thousands more, while the DART mission's 2022 collision with asteroid Dimorphos proved we can nudge small bodies off course. So if we see them in time, Tunguska is not just a historical curiosity. It is a training case for planetary defense. Before we wrap up, let's debunk 3 persistent myths. First, aliens vaporize their crashed spaceship. Fun for Hollywood, but no exotic alloys or radiation anomalies have ever been found. Second, Nikola Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower fired an electromagnetic death ray. In reality, the tower had been powered down for months and lacked anything close to the gigajoules needed to level a forest half a world away. Third, a miniature black hole punched through Earth. If that had happened, we'd see a matching exit wound on the opposite side of the planet, along with unmistakable seismic signatures none exist. So what really happened? The best evidence points to a small, fast asteroid that entered Earth's atmosphere, broke apart under immense air pressure, and exploded in midair with a force of roughly 15 megatons. The blast flattened millions of trees, ignited forest fires, and lofted dust high enough to create luminous night skies over Europe. Because the energy was released several kilometers above ground, no classic crater formed, and whatever fragments survived were tiny and scattered. Tunguska turned an empty stretch of taiga into a natural laboratory and a sobering reminder that cosmic hazards don't have to be dinosaur killers to be catastrophic. By studying this event, using drones, satellites, and supercomputers, we sharpen our ability to protect the only home we have. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please subscribe to MindSpark. Science Now. Share the episode with a friend and leave a review on your favorite podcast app. Got questions or theories of your own? Drop them in the comments or tag me on social media at MindSparkScience. Until next time, keep looking up, but maybe not directly at the next fireball.